I think there's no single successful way to run a campaign. I think the best campaigns have attributes that acknowledge that they are distributed movements. And we should always keep in mind is that it might be quote unquote a candidate's campaign, but it's our country and it's our values and our vision of a future that we're working for. And so to some extent, did you notice that throughout this book, and it's part of what I loved about Pete's first book too, but I think he really brought it home. I mean, you had a chapter like chapter 3 or 4 where he's talking about things as disparate as his military service, what it was like to come out, dealing with the loss of Eric Logan in South Bend, and every like really disparate themes, but it's all stitched together by these stories, by these experiences from one person that you and I trust, right? So in many ways, there's like layered trust that's actually playing out through this book. And I think what the book is an example of relational organizing. Pete is sort of leaning into, especially for this community here, a relationship that he's already established with you because you've come to sort of respect him or pay attention to what he's doing. He's telling you stories, and from that, he's working us into these much bigger conversations about it's the nature of going from being I, the individual, to we, part of a community. It's part of the social contract, if you will, that we unofficially make by choosing to participate in a system that relies on multiple people and doesn't, where you can't just exist in perpetuity as an individual. And I read this as an opportunity to really lean in to their to anybody who's supporting Donald Trump is a human being that has relationships with lots of other people. And if even one of those is a relationship with someone who is not a Trump supporter, that's that's a strong case for relational organizing, for leaning in to that human connection, bonding with that person over the other things that you share in common with them, and using that as an entree point. It's kind of like a, hey, remember, we're part of the same community, we value the same things. And that's why I can lean into some of that trust that we have established to talk to you about this one really important thing that we kind of disagree on. I think regardless of whether or not there are formal mechanisms for some sort of engagement and recognition and sort of acknowledgement, reconciliation, and moving on of the challenges. And we're clearly sort of at this national moment that calls for that on issues of equity uh, and a host of other areas. Whether or not there are formal mechanisms for it, the thing that gives me the most hope is in the last 4 years, those of us who have stepped into the arena and who have chosen to care and to do the work, we have built so many cross connections to people, to communities, to places that we weren't engaging in before. I mean, I don't know. You're all on the front lines of building trust. It's I I'm grateful to my friend for giving us such powerful examples from his own life and for giving us a language and a framework, as you mentioned, Wes. But it's a language and a framework that's only as powerful as people like you choose to make it by getting out there and having the conversations and doing the work. And that is American democracy at its finest. The reminder that we're all equal owners, we're all equal participants, and we've got equal power. And it matters how we choose to use it. So, are we voting? Are we asking other people to vote? Are we showing up and doing the work and having conversations with people in our community about the things that we care about and we want to see in our future?